Hello everybody, my name is Kalo, and today I'm giving advice for hunting in Deathgarden. Now, these tips are primarily made for new players, and as such are focused on being simple and universal. What that basically means is I'm going to avoid going too far in depth with any aspect, as I don't want this video to be me telling you exactly what I think you should do. I'd rather teach the man to fish so he can cast his own line, so to speak. Okay, so despite what you may think, you don't have to be an FPS pro to hold your own against runners. With some game knowledge, patience, and quick thinking, you can be on your way to victory in no time, and this video hopes to help aid that adventure. Firstly, I'll go over the abilities that you'll always have as a hunter. I'm going to skip over which powers, things like mines or turrets, along with perks and guns to use, as balance on them will be ever-changing, especially this early on in the game's lifetime. I will note though, that when it comes to guns, it's good to be versatile. For example, the most typical loadout right now is a shotgun as your main source of close range burst damage, with an assault rifle alongside it for hacking and finishing targets at range. Hunters have two base abilities that they have every game, no matter what other options you pick for your build. These being the melee stun that hits in an area, and the supercharge, which is a powerful speed boost. These are foundational tools that you should get used to using quite often. The stun, for instance, is a good way to stop a slippery runner that you're chasing, and also works as a way to check surrounding bushes if you think someone is hiding nearby. However, the main strength of the stun comes from its power on the blood post. It interrupts runners who are attempting to save their posted teammate, providing coverage of the entire immediate area, which gives you more time to down the saviors and execute the victim. Now, while both abilities require stamina to activate, the supercharge constantly uses more as long as it's active. Speeding up while you sprint and then jumping allows you to nearly soar across the map with precise air control, giving you the freedom to move from objective to objective. But be careful, as using it leisurely will result in you not having the stamina to charge somewhere you might really need to be at a moment's notice. In my opinion, this is your most important ability, hands down, as using it correctly results in a hunter that feels omnipotent. That is, that they're seemingly everywhere they need to be. It's also unfortunately one of the most common downfalls for newer hunters, as being conscious about stamina and resource usage in general is harder than it looks. While stamina is definitely a main focus when it comes to resource usage, the hunter has many things they need to be aware of all at once, including but not limited to ammo, power cooldowns, runner downs, objective completion, and arguably the most important here, time. But I'll talk about that one in its own section later. For now, I know it seems like it's a lot to think about, especially if you just started playing the game, so just keep in mind that as strong as you may feel, you don't have unlimited power and you should do your best to cover those weaknesses. You don't want to run out of ammo mid-fight or not be able to supercharge over to an objective that's being captured. Grab and hack a couple of ammo crates early on, don't overuse your chosen power if you don't need to, and send runners to the blood post whenever you can. Speaking of which, let's talk about the mechanic that's probably most underutilized by newer hunters, hacking. If you've ever played runner and wondered why the hunter is randomly shooting in the distance, or why a loud alarm went off after you grabbed some ammo, it's most likely because the hunter's been firing at everything on the map, from upgrade parts and stations to ammo crates and even health packs. You do this because when these items are shot by the hunter, they become hacked, so the next time a runner uses it, they're revealed to the hunter for a short time. You can see a reddish glow on the items that are hacked, but it's subtle and catches runners off guard more than you'd expect. If you're not currently defending an objective or chasing another runner, punishing the use of these hacked items by supercharging over to them if they aren't too far away, as soon as you spot the red revealed outline in a distance, is a good way to pressure them and also conditions the runners to think that if they use a hacked item, you'll eliminate them for it. Even if you don't end up going for the person, you've got new info on their general whereabouts. This is a solid tool for controlling parts of the map and extending the early game, which I'll explain the importance of now. So what is the best way to spend your time from the start of the game as a hunter? While I will say that this following answer likely oversimplifies it because it depends on your loadout and preferred playstyle, the early game is the hunter's kingdom. Runners don't have ability upgrades to defend themselves yet, while your guns are already powerful enough to do work. Immediately rushing to find these weak runners puts a lot of pressure on them very quickly, and with limited ways to defend themselves early on, you'll have an easier time shooting them down, even if your aim isn't the best. Alternatively, if you see that you're struggling to find sneakier runners or finish off those kills, Searching around for upgrades and ammo to take and hack in the early game is a good way to control the map, and will likely result in a runner revealing themselves to you, giving you a guaranteed target to go after. Plus, taking those blue crates not only denies a runner that potentially vital upgrade, but makes your gun stronger too. Related to this, even though ammo is technically a limited resource, it's easy enough to come by, so feel free to check bushes for runners by shooting into them as well. Like I said, the early game is when the hunter is at their strongest, but as the game progresses, runners will get more powerful abilities to defend themselves with, making them more confident in contesting the objectives, saving their teammates from the blood posts, and even distracting you. Your top priorities should always be preventing runners from completing the objectives and executing people you send to the blood post. Some side notes though, before I dive into these top priorities, the golden crate is a massively powerful boost for both you and the runners, but only you can see it globally when it spawns. If you aren't doing anything urgent at the time, go grab it and you'll have unlimited stamina for a while, giving you the power to stun as much as you want off cooldown and speed through the map like a madman. On the opposite end of the spectrum, please do not tunnel vision on killing a target. If they get away from you, so be it. You have objectives to defend and a map with 4 other runners on it to control. Unfortunately, the more important of the top 2 priorities is pretty situational, but a decent guideline to follow until you learn more is that trading an objective for a kill is worth it earlier on, as the runners will have one less person to do objectives with them after the execution. However, when the runners are closer to winning the game, it's usually better to give up the execute to defend an objective. I want to emphasize that this is a very beginner's guideline, not a rule. I repeat, the more important priority is situational, but it'll always be between preventing runners from completing the objectives and executing the people you send to the blood post. Speaking of the blood post, completing an execution is one of the hardest things for a new hunter to do, and understandably so. It's difficult to focus on all of the runners trying to save their friend between all of the crowd control, aka CC, like blinds and slows they're hitting you with, on top of having to shoot or stun them and picking the right time to actually attempt the execution. The first thing I want to say here is just stay calm. There's a cooldown on the CC, so for example, control can't stun you again right after they had just done so, and you can see that on the top right of your screen. These cooldown windows are where you make your opportunity to execute in between fighting off the saviors. While all of the CC is annoying, the big one to look out for is virus. This increases your channel time by a lot, making it essentially impossible for you to execute someone before a runner would complete the save. It's powerful, but its cooldown is also considerably long, so after it wears off, you've got your prime window for execution. Fight runners off until then, or if they aren't pressuring a save, channel the execute but be ready to let go of it to fight if you need to. And that about wraps it up. Like I said at the beginning, I tried to encompass all aspects of hunting in this video without going too far in depth, as the focus here is supposed to be on newer players. I plan on making more videos in the future that'll go deeper into strategy for both hunters and runners soon, but in the meantime, if you've got any tips that you'd like to add or just have any questions about Deathgarden in general, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'll be actively reading and discussing them as time goes on. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see everybody in the garden soon. Until then though, stay safe, stay beautiful, and I'll see you next time.